Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. Real talk, big opinions, and fearless conversations. From the front lines of politics to the latest in pop culture. From breaking sports headlines to the stories that move the world. Nothing's off limits, and nobody's holding back. Arrington Gavin is here to break it down, build it up, and keep it all the way real. So turn it up, lean in, and let's get into it. This is the Arrington Gavin Show.
What is happening, ladies and gents? Welcome to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, we're diving deep and keeping it real, so please do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. So, my friends, on tonight's conversation, we're turning our attention to an election that may not always dominate the headlines, but one that has direct impact on the future of our community, our schools. The Hampton City School Board helps shape decisions affecting everything from student achievement and school safety to teacher retention, budgeting, and preparing the next generation for college, careers, and life. These are the decisions that touch families across Hampton every single day. And joining us tonight is Miss Natalie Kidd, Democratic candidate for the Hampton City School Board. We'll discuss her vision for Hampton students, and we'll also, as well as educators and families, and explore the challenges facing the school division and give her the opportunity to explain why she believes she's the right person to help lead Hampton's school forward. Now, whether you're a parent, an educator, a student, a taxpayer like myself, or simply someone who cares about the future of public education, this, my friends, is a conversation you won't want to miss. And I'm just thrilled, as always, to bring to you great conversation here on the Arrington Gavin Show, because, you know, we love to talk about obviously issues, what goes on across this nation, you know, right, on a federal level. But I've said it all the time, what happens on a federal level affects state level and it trickles down on a local level. So it's very important that you have an understanding and know what's going on in your own backyard. And local government is, in my opinion, the most important. If you're unaware of, well, who serves on your school board or what a school board a position of a school board member even does, because I'll be honest, I'm a little, I'm not as educated when it comes to the school board. And for one, I think it's because, well, I'm not a parent. Well, I'm a dog dad. I'm not I don't have a human, but I'm just saying I never really pay attention too much on school board, but shame on me, because it's important for me to have that understanding and that knowledge what goes on, because we've had the opportunity to have on elected officials that serve on a school board, as well as candidates. And so I'm really thrilled to have on Miss Natalie Kidd. For one, so here's a funny thing. We were chopping it up just a little bit before the show, and I'm over here saying I think it's very, inspiring seeing a fellow millennial pursuing a local office. I think it's, again, I love seeing more, new voices, young people getting involved. And she's like, excuse me, Gen Z. I'm like, well, damn. I'm like, I did not know. I'm like, so it's even more inspiring seeing someone at the age of 26 running for local office. Why? Because she sees an issue going on in her community, and she's like, look, I'm the one that can help make a difference and bring some new ideas to the table. I think that's inspiring, because y'all, and I've been accused of being ageist, and I promise you I'm not ageist. What I'm trying to explain is that if we talk about all the time low voting turnout, right, or why folks push away, they ignore politics, they can't stay in politics, they're like, I don't want to be a part of that. Why? Because they continue to see, I don't know, maybe folks that are at a certain age that is well past the retirement age, still running, pursuing re-elections. And I'm like, this is not the future. This is not what everyday people want to see. They don't want to see folks sadly, pass on while still serving, or they don't want to see folks, a Congress or a Senate full of old people. I mean, or in any level, whether it's local, state, or federal. So all I'm saying is I love seeing new voices, as well as young people pursuing politics, whether if it's on a local, state, or federal level. And I'm excited to have on Miss Natalie Kidd on to talk more about her, campaign run. Why, where did this passion come from? What priorities that she is tackling in her campaign to hopefully win the Hampton City School Board race. So again, we're excited and to have her on, and you're going to be in for a treat. As always, family, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule for tuning into yet another great episode here on the Arrington Gavin Show. As you know, we drop new episodes weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. So we're available on iHeart, Spotify, Apple, just to name a few. You can also follow us on our social media handles on Instagram at the Arrington Gavin Show. X is a little dry, but I mean, we're there. I'm usually there just to kind of, piss people off, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm on X at the AG Show Live, and you can also check out our website, www.theagshow.com. You can catch up on recent episodes. If you want to contact me by way of email, make sure to visit our website. What else? Oh, you can also check out past episodes of the Arrington Gavin Show on Goatverse TV. All you have to do is just download the Goatverse TV app. It's available on the App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, as well as Amazon Fire TV. And of course, I don't know if I've mentioned before, but make sure to follow us or subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not subscribed yet. Help us continue to broaden our reach and just help spread great conversation. We want to have fun, but we also want to inform folks as well. I think that's all I have for you all today. I hope you all are having a wonderful evening. I myself, I've been having a great one. The missus and I were continuing to try and stay active, right? That's always hard trying to, I always say I'm just trying to look good in a suit, but I'm like, well, I don't know. The last time I put on a suit, I look like a stuffed like salami, like when, sausage stuff. I'm like, this is not working. So, getting back in it, and it's great. I feel great. I've even, y'all, now, I'm not a coffee drinker, right? And my wife is the coffee drinker. I've gotten her, the Keurig. I've even bought her an espresso machine, and she rarely uses it because she's a Starbucks girl to the core. Every morning, Starbucks. I'm like, really? What are we doing here? So I'm more of a tea guy, but I've decided to, stretch out and let me try out an espresso shot. Never had one. I actually like it. It's actually pretty good. So this is like day 2 for me having an espresso shot in the morning, just to kind of give myself a little more energy, because I'm a night owl, but I also get up early, and I'm very, very, tired. Like, tea doesn't help me wake up. It just does. I just like the taste of it. But this is day 2 with having an espresso shot. And I also had a Nespresso. There we go. I've had a Nespresso as well. So it's not that bad. It's not, taste is not bad. I've kept it just plain. I just put a little honey in it just to add a little, sweeten, but that was it. So it's pretty tasty. It's pretty tasty. Yeah, that's all I got for you all. I just felt like sharing that with you all, because I'm like, I've always talked bad about I can't stand coffee. Yuck. I like the smell, but I don't like the taste. But I don't know, man. I could be changing. I guess it's getting older. I guess it really is just getting older, and I'm starting to have like taste buds to like stuff that I never cared for when I was younger. So yeah, it's a new step, I guess, in the right direction. I hope in the right direction. But my friends, look, do not go anywhere. We're going to head to a commercial break, and then we come back. We'll have on our special guest, Miss Natalie Kidd. So yeah, don't go anywhere. Don't change that dial. You're listening to the Arrington Gavin Show. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
Every man has a story to tell. Your ambitions, your achievements, your legacy. Your suit should reflect that story, crafted precisely, designed for impact, and tailored exclusively for you. We work with only the finest fabrics, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends from world-renowned mills in Italy, the UK, and India. These fabrics are the foundation of custom suits that exude elegance and stand the test of time. But a suit isn't just about fabric, it's about fit, and it's about confidence, and it all starts with you. When you work with me, you'll receive a personalized consultation, whether in person or over Zoom. Together, we'll explore your vision and discuss your needs. and we're going to bring your ideas to life. My journey as a designer includes apprenticing under New York-based designer Clavon Leonard, showcasing collections at New York Fashion Week, Algeria Fashion Week, and the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. That experience is what we bring to every suit we create, from weddings to corporate events and everything in between. We specialize in crafting one-of-a-kind suits for life's most significant moments. Dapper Luke has been recognized as one of Baltimore's best menswear in 2023, and I was honored to be one of the 10 designers selected for the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. With over 900 satisfied clients, we proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore, bringing world-class designs to these incredible communities. We don't just make suits, we craft confidence. Your suit will fit your body, your style, and it will tell your story. Book your free online personal consultation today. Visit www.dapperluke.com.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to
And we still in traffic.
Don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up. Yeah, that's that new Goat Verse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of that he said?
Introducing GoatVerse TV.
GoatVerse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
6'10", number one pick, 16 seasons, College Player of the Year, All-Rookie Standout. Joe Smith built a career on grit, consistency, and showing up.
Greatness isn't just about the game. It's about how you show up every day. Rugged Evolution now offers body care products for every man, because not every man wears a beard, but every man deserves care. Greatness doesn't fade.
It evolved. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Every beard deserves to be legendary, and every man deserves care.
I'm Aaron Phillips. Join me Saturdays at 12:30 as I host The Voice of 757. I'll share news, events, happenings, and the people that shape the 757. That's The Voice of 757, Saturday afternoon at 12:30 right here on Sky 4.
All right, family. Thank you for sticking with us here on the show program. I'm always changing it up like every time. Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. You know what I'm trying to say. As I mentioned earlier, I'm honored to have on a special guest, candidate for Hampton City School Board, Miss Natalie Kidd. Let's go ahead and bring her on. Natalie, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Hey, I can't complain. It's a little muggy outside here in the Hampton Roads area, but I mean, you know, it could be worse. I feel like it's a little cooler than what we've been having.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. It's definitely like gone down this afternoon, and it's like kind of almost like hazy over, and it's almost really nice outside.
True. When I look at this weather, I'm like, you know what? This is stay-at-home weather. And then you realize, I'm like, bills has to be paid. Let me get out and go. I haven't won the lottery yet, but when the time comes, I'll probably still be on the move and getting up and stuff. But hey, at least it'll make me feel better though. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out your busy schedule. As I mentioned earlier, you are running for Hampton City School Board. If you don't mind sharing just a little bit about yourself with our audience, just a brief background and kind of what helped led to your pursuit for this campaign for Hampton City School Board.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. This is such a great opportunity, and love giving information to voters about, who they should vote for this upcoming November. And it's really important for local candidates, as we don't have much of a platform as, our state legislatures and national candidates. So thank you so much for having me on. But like you said, my name is Natalie Kidd. I am a candidate for the Hampton City School Board. I have a lifelong connection to the city of Hampton, and I'm dedicated to serving the community I was raised in. I'm a proud graduate of Kickingham High School, which of course is located in Hampton City Schools, and I'm an alumna of Christopher Newport University. My career started in educational nonprofit fundraising and youth development, community engagement, and then led eventually to legislative analysis. And I think all those experiences have really helped me prepare to hopefully serve my community in the capacity as school board member this upcoming November. But I think my commitment to community service really started at a young age. I was a Girl Scout, got my bronze awards, working towards that. Really passionate about issues when I was younger regarding child's health. Really passionate about, our local hospital for children, Children's Hospital, the King's Daughters. Really loved working in community service project towards them. That kind of passion led on to high school where I had a lot of leadership positions. And my most notable position and one I take the most pride in was serving as student representative to the Hampton City School Board. But after high school, went on to college and went to Christopher Newport University. I was a student ambassador there. Really loved that experience. At the time, I was also an employee of Hampton City Schools. I was their volleyball coach at Bethel High School. That was such a fun and rewarding season to coach. Another unique experience I had was tutoring a group of elementary school students during the COVID-19 pandemic. Very rewarding, got to get really in touch of what young learners are facing, the issues they're facing. So learning in that aspect was really unique outside the classroom. And then I also volunteered as a coach for Girls on the Run, which is another great national nonprofit that has a lot of chapters in the Hampton Roads area. And then post-college, I began my professional career as the women's volleyball coach at Virginia Peninsula Community College. Before transitioning over to the nonprofit sector, I worked as a gift officer at not only the Virginia Living Museum over in Newport News, but also the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation in Williamsburg. And there I developed a stakeholder relationship, raised funds. I also connected the community to greater educational opportunities and resources. And then lastly, just going into a little bit more of my background. Yes,
it won't take me long just to read the resume, but I'm like, goodness gracious.
Got to make sure I hit all the points,
Hey, I hear you.
And then within my professional career, I had the opportunity for running for the Hampton City School Board back in 2024. I had a 4 month long campaign. Very short time, 125 days to be exact. Some stars aligned where I had the opportunity to run. And I just thought at the time, and as I do now, it's really important to have representative boards serving the communities they represent, reflecting the diversity, the age groups, et cetera, for our communities, because it's what our communities need. And after that, experiences. I went out onto the campaign field, worked for a lot of elected officials and candidates who shared a lot of the same like-minded vision for our future as I do. And then ended up working as legislative aide this past session and currently working in contracting and in consulting. So that's a little bit of my journey that's led all the way now to 2026, where I once again running for Hampton City School Board.
Yeah, it's funny you said a little bit. You heard her say that, y'all. She said a little bit of just about that. Look, that was so.
Sorry, a lot of it.
No, but what in my mind, I'm like, wow. When do you have a breather? When do you take a break? Because you're. I mean, just reading, when you were sharing a brief background about yourself, like you're involved in a lot. And one thing too I hear is, you're involved in a lot of service. But I want to ask, do you ever sit down and take a breather and like say, okay, it's time to vacay, or are you always on the move?
I would say I'm always on the move, but, touching on what you were talking about a little earlier before you introduced me is I love coffee. So I will always lay on the couch and I actually have my own espresso machine. I love espresso. I really think you're going to get into it. I think day after day, as you progress, keep having that one shot of espresso, it'll turn to 2, then 3, and then you're making your own lattes and cappuccinos.
Oh, geez. If I ever turn to that person, like, let me just make sure I make it very perfect. Look, I don't have the time to make. I just always say, hey, look, just hand me the pod. Let me base. Okay, this is where it's at. I mean, and it's growing on me. I mean, I like the bitter taste. So I mean, it's a taste that it gives me that choke. Like I said, I've only put honey. I've heard folks say, well, you can put a little brown sugar. I'm like, no, I'll just deal with the honey right now. But it's not bad. I will say I'm slowly but surely getting into it. But no, it's very awesome hearing just your journey with that has now followed up to this very moment for you. If it's okay to ask, like, would you say as a youngster, service, was that installed to you at obviously at a young age, but was it like installed in the household growing up of service? Yes. I mean, if you don't mind, kind of expanding on that a little bit.
And honestly, I wanted to include that in my brief introduction, but that was as brief as I could keep my introduction. So I'm really glad that you bring this up. Yes, it was instilled in me from a really young age, both my mom and my dad. So my mom has been an educator for Hampton City Schools for over 22 years. I think it's more than
Wow.
that. And, a lot of the things that she did community service wise, I always thought she was doing for me and my sister, but really
Mhm.
she was doing it for not just us, but other children
Mhm.
in our community. I mentioned I was in Girl Scouts. She was my Girl Scout troop leader. She was heavily involved in the PTA at my elementary school. She did that for other kids too. She was the
Mhm.
city PTA president at one point, doing it for the
Wow. Wow.
betterment of our schools. And then my dad on the other side, well, he was involved in much more smaller knit groups that did a lot of community service. I don't know if
Mhm.
you've heard of Christian surfers. He was really
Mhm.
involved with that, a lot of community service projects through them, and just doing like simple things of helping out our neighbors and giving back to our neighbors and others. And just on the more smaller level, seeing
Mhm.
growing up, the much bigger level that my mom was doing, the much smaller level that my dad was doing, really instilled me. There are so many different ways to give back to people, to our community, and I can do that at any age. You can find a way to give back to your community in any age. So I think that's what led me to all this community service experience and opportunities that I've had starting in elementary school. I made homemade jewelry. I had my own jewelry company, Natalie by Design, where I sat in Farm Fresh. I don't know if you happen to remember those grocery stores around the Hampton Roads
Taking me
region.
back. Taking me back. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
My dad actually worked at those and made a deal with the store director that during their annual roundup season in the month of March that I got to come out and set up a table and sell my homemade jewelry,
Oh wow.
and give the
Wow.
proceeds to back to that program. So just little things like that and progressing all the
Mhm.
way middle, high school, into now. So yes, it was definitely instilled in me in a young age, and I can't thank my parents enough
Shout
for that. So
shout out to
thank
the
you, mom and
parents,
dad.
man. Absolutely.
Yes.
Shout out to mom and dad. Now I wanna ask you. Okay, you're a candidate running for Hampton City School Board. You
Mhm.
are you are a Gen Zer. I
Yes.
almost said you are a Gen Zer.
Yes.
For one, I want to ask, actually, before I ask, let me just kind of get our audience prepared. So Hampton City School. Now I've looked up a few of the really great achievements that Hampton City School
Yes.
Board Hampton
Absolutely.
Public Schools have. Obviously, strong graduation rates. As a class of 2025, 98.88% on time graduation rate. So that's a big deal.
Absolutely.
Academies. They offer engineering, aviation, health sciences, information technologies, education, business, maritime careers. Again, very, very good school choice opportunities. So magnet schools, fundamental
Yep.
schools,
Yep.
specialty programs. So it's pretty solid at Hampton. Now, I did look at a ranking. I believe it was a niche ranking. Hampton, out of the 7 cities, ranked let me see here. I want to say number 4 out of the 7 cities. Yes, number 4 of the out of the 7 cities here in Hampton Roads. That all being said, Natalie, what is your why pursue running for Hampton City School Board? Because I always ask the candidate, when you make a bid to to run for anything, it's because you notice it's some flaws that you have
Right.
the ideas to address and can bring to the table. So if you don't mind, I mean, how would you describe the Hampton public school system? And again, what are your priorities in your campaign?
Yeah. Thank you for that question. I believe our school system has so many great things going on. I don't even know how to start because there is so
Mm-hmm.
many great things happening within our school system. We have the
Mm-hmm.
Academies of Hampton model rolled out about a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually in high school when that model started to roll out. And I mean, it's grown exponentially since
Mm-hmm.
then, since I don't want to say the exact date because I don't have it in my head, around 2015, 2016, at the very beginning, all
Mm-hmm.
the way till now. It has grown. There's been a lot of grant money, a lot of, just funds in general pushed into the academies. And it has truly made our students ready for college and specifically career,
Mm-hmm.
giving students more of an opportunity to be ready post high school, to
Mm-hmm.
be ready for not only college but for career and to be able to develop in their career as well from early age from graduating from high school. But at the same time, there's many challenges and there's also opportunities for growth that our division has, and I really think I have a unique perspective being a recent graduate. All of our current school board members, I believe every single one of us, the current candidates, including myself and everyone currently sitting on the school board, all bring different lived experiences and qualifications to make a school board great. And I think it's up to the voters this November to decide what perspectives, what diversity, what lived experiences are more valuable to them, because I am the only challenger running in this race. I have 3 incumbents and it's going to be myself. So it's up to the voters. And last time I ran, I know I touched on this, 4 months, 125-day campaign.
Hey, that's longer than some folks run for president. I'm not going to say any names, but I'm just, we all know.
Yeah. Yes. That's true. But I only, the incumbents running as a team, running as a ticket, I only lost a seat by 3.5 points, which is really good because these are at-large districts. I know Chesapeake is an at-large district where you're from. So is Hampton. So that was a really major feat. And that's why I've come back. My whole campaign last time, and is still built on this time, is built on meeting community where they are, at their doors, at neighborhood events, etc. And parks, all the things, all the places you could possibly
that community engagement. No, for sure.
Yes, that's where I am in the community, and I'm talking to the people you wouldn't normally see show up to school board meetings, people you wouldn't see show up to city council meetings, and learning, the challenges that them as a family or their student is facing. Because for me, I see, being a good steward as an elected official is to be a vessel for your constituents. Yes. When you run a platform, when you're a candidate, you have, your values, you have your vision, but at the end of the day, you're serving a constituency, and it's about what they want, not what you want. And that's what this campaign is built on. It's built on what my community wants. It's built on transparency, and it's built on accountability, which are really important things and things to look for in candidates. And, and at every single level, from local to state to national, in politics, because there's so much craziness going on at every single level that people are looking for people who are transparent and accountable. And that is what I want to do if elected to the Hampton City School Board.
Natalie, I want to ask, and this is not, like a dig at any of the, the current elects or the candidates, but just in general, why is it that, during campaign season, even in 2026, we still hear the word, accountability, being transparent with the community, right? Speaking with folks that are probably not familiar or probably not regulars that come to a school board meeting. Why? It's like, I guess I want to ask the question, like, why is that? And then how has that experience been for you during on the campaign trail, talking with those individuals who are like, well, I'm a parent, but I've never showed up. Like, what have been some of the issues that, if you don't mind sharing, that folks or parents of students that are in the public school system in Hampton, what have they shared with you?
Yeah, to touch back on accountability, I think a lot of the accountability lingo, and I am using it in my platform, absolutely, because I believe you need to hold not only, people who are running. I hope, as I'm running, constituents are holding me accountable to my platform, to my campaign, but a lot of it's coming at the national level. As we see, everything is happening. It's accountability all the way to the state level with our, our new majority in, the governor's seat, in the Virginia legislature. Accountability. Did you hold to your campaign promise? And I think that's where a lot of that comes from. And I think, just being accountable is a very important part of being an elected official. But I don't think Hampton City Schools has issues, rather, challenges and opportunities for improvements and growth. I don't want to call them issues, but some of the things that different community members and families have in stakeholders have voiced to me is a big one. And it's not just the city of Hampton, it's across the state and really nationally, is teacher attainment and recruitment. But, here in Hampton Roads, according to the Department of Education, Hampton has the highest reported teacher vacancy rate in Hampton Roads for the 25-26 school year, and that's about 14%. However, Hampton City Schools did, publicly state, once that data was released and it was shared on some different reports from WHRO, Daily Press, that that statistic excludes our associate teachers who are working towards their licensure. So accounting associate teachers, they were 99.6% staffed. So that's great that we were able to recruit that amount of people who wanted to work for our school division. And for folks that may not know the classifications of associate teachers, they have two classifications. Associate 2 teachers are individuals who have bachelor's degrees but don't have their full licensure. And then we have associate 1 teachers who have their associate's degree, and a bachelor's degree is one of the requirements for full licensure. So those are like the 2 different classifications for our associate teachers. And I'm really excited that we have so many individuals wanting to become associate teachers and take on the challenge, and, you know, are committed to working towards their licensure, their full licensure. And I'm very thankful for their service as educators. But it is really important that we have fully licensed educators in every single classroom in our division. You know, and if I'm elected, I'm committed to getting our current associate teachers to reach their full licensure in a timely manner, and making sure these teachers have the supports they need to get there. However, going forward in our division's recruitment process, we need to recruit and retain fully licensed teachers. And then, you know, another area for growth that I see is, you know, our budget. I believe public education is for the public good, and every dollar that goes towards our public schools is more than worthwhile. You know, again, according to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. Well, when you mentioned about the budget, I was going to throw in, has Hampton Public Schools seen effect? Because we have seen a lack of funding on a national level when it comes to education, right? That have affected universities, primarily, you know, HBCUs, but also, again, that trickles down on a local level as well. Has the city seen, you know, a effect to that budget where it's like, okay, look, if we had this certain amount of funds, we could improve some of the challenges that we, you know, that we see the Hampton public school system facing? Has the cities have felt effect from what happens or what has been going on the national level?
Yeah, that's a great question. So nationally, you know, about 2 years ago, when the start of the dismantling of the Department of Education, Hampton and other school systems did see a loss in different grant funding opportunities, which, you know, decreased from our budget. But luckily, we are working towards an upward slope of increasing federal funding. We have the great Congressman Bobby Scott, who's working really hard for us up in DC to make sure we get more funding for our schools, and, you know, especially a lot of grants going towards our disadvantaged populations, which is really, really important, because there's a lot of communities within not just Hampton but Hampton Roads that is seeing that effect in our communities. But when we're looking at the local level for Hampton, Hampton ranks lower than the average, compared to other localities in the state, if that makes sense, when it comes to locality funding in our school division. The funding formula for Hampton City Council is that a certain percentage of the personal property tax revenue goes into Hampton City Schools budget. That's the only line item that goes from City Council locality funding into our budget. And a challenge that City Council is actually facing right now is that a lot of residents want a personal property tax break. And if the city decides to pursue that tax break, then we are going to have an effect on our budget, you know, going forward. And that's ultimately going to affect our stakeholders and our students and educators. And I believe the Hampton City Council should not only, you know, in case that happens, but just for now too, evaluate other ways and reevaluate their funding formula to see how we can increase funding to our schools to now meet the average across the state for locality funding.
Why? I'm sorry, Natalie.
No, you're okay. I was just going to say too that our district leadership team, in terms of funding, they should pursue some new grant opportunities too that will fund some of the great things that we're aspiring to do in our schools, and especially through the academies. We qualify for a lot more grant opportunities than other neighboring school divisions with the different innovations happening with the academies of Hampton.
And that's the thing, when I hear about so many great innovations happening in the city of Hampton, you mentioned something in regards to low funding compared, like some of the lowest funding compared to different localities. Do you mean like other cities in the Hampton Roads area?
Just across the state. So like the
across
average
state, okay.
Yeah. So they're just lower than the average
I got you.
Yeah, lower than the average across the state.
I got you.
I don't have on top of my head compared to the other localities in Hampton Roads. I
Yeah.
just know across the state we're lower than average in locality funding.
Gotcha. And I probably should have asked this question way ahead, but again, being that we're just an organic conversation, I always say this convo is like over, lunch, just hanging out with friends. Like I'm gonna be asking stuff all across. Explain the position of a school board member, because I've mentioned some of our listeners are still a bit foreign when it comes to politics, especially local government, right? I talk a lot about council, the mayor seat, but I rarely discuss school board positions of a school board member. What exactly does a elected school board member, what does their position entitle? What is their like everyday kind of job?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at least in the Hampton Roads area, primarily, I can't speak for every single city. So let me actually tail it back maybe to for the peninsula, at least. The school boards it's almost like a part-time role, because you're not paid a salary, you're paid a stipend for your work. So it's part-time. So a lot of people have a regular full-time job in addition to being a school board member. So you really have to have a career that's kind of flexible to the different responsibilities of being a school board member. So day to day, besides school board meetings, a lot of, a part of being a school board member is showing up in the schools, showing up in the community. While that's not an essential function of a school board member, that's what a lot of, school board members entail, and that's what their community expects. And I absolutely agree. But a school board, like down to the nitty gritty, like has very few essential functions. One of them is hiring and firing a superintendent. Another one is voting on policies that go into effect for our schools. So, they have a very set amount of things that they are responsible for. But as most school board members, city council members, elected officials in your locality go above and beyond that essential line of duty, if you want to say it that way, to serving their community.
Okay. And how many public schools are there starting from, I guess, elementary to high school in the city of Hampton? Are you?
Yes.
If you have any?
Yeah. So we have 18 elementary schools.
Okay.
We have 5 middle schools, 4 high schools. And then here's all those different like learning center schools that you were mentioning, in addition to the main elementary, middle, and high schools. We have one gifted center, and they encompass 3 through 8.
Okay.
I got to actually go to that school when I was in middle school. A fantastic opportunity for gifted children. And then we have one early childhood center. We have one alternative and adult learning centers. And then we also have 2 pre-K through 8 schools. So in total, we have 32 schools in total in the city of Hampton.
Wow. That's like, and I say that because, again, being a Chesapeake native, still in the city, Hampton is not really a large city. Hampton's primarily, I would say, one of the smaller ones in the Hampton Roads area. So that's a lot.
Yes. We have a very dense population. Last time I checked, we have over 100,000 registered voters, and I know it's more than that, but the last time, like, that's the figure I can give you for sure. It's over 100,000 registered voters. So that's not including all of our constituents who are registered voters, and then also all of our kids, all of our students, all the individuals under the age of 18 who can't vote. So we are a very, very, very dense city.
Wow. Before I get, ask you more in regards to, your priorities and some of the challenges, again, happening or facing in Hampton, I want to ask, I'm trying to word this question. Give me a second. You are, I would say, the youngest running for school board in the city of Hampton. I believe. You're probably, if I'm not mistaken, to my understanding, you might be the youngest running in Hampton Roads as far as local office races is concerned. I've known a few races happening in different cities, and I'm like, right, 26. I say all that because we still, in 2026, I feel as though that there's not a lot of, I'm not going to say respect, but folks don't take young voices seriously to a certain extent. And you are again, this is your second time running now. This is new to me. So your first time, it was what, I'm assuming 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah.
2 years ago. Okay, was it a special election?
It was a regular election. So city of Hampton, just like Chesapeake, has at-large seats. So every 2 years there's 3 seats up. The next 2 years 4 seats.
True. That's right. See y'all, I'm telling you, this is why. Look, we have fun, but we also have to learn, right? Keep me on my toes, Natalie. Keep me on my toes. Okay, so your slogan, a new voice for a new generation. A new voice for a new generation. I guess what I'm trying to ask, and I know I'm all around the place with this question, but has it been a kind of challenging for voters to take an individual at your age serious in regards to, hey, look, I'm the person that will be great to help provide great ideas to school board? I mean, has it been challenging being, the youngest, again, like I said, 26, because you have folks that are saying, what does this young person know? What does this young whippersnapper know? I'm just curious. I just wanted to ask that question to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. Yes, to my knowledge, this election cycle, 2026, I am the youngest candidate running in Hampton Roads. However, I do have to note some of our amazing elected officials in the Hampton Roads area and surrounding. We have Cam Drew over in Surrey County. He's 19 years old.
Yes.
Elected Board of Supervisors member. And then we also have Ayanna Williams, who's up in Williamsburg, who's a William and Mary student, who is now, I don't know if she's graduated or not. I'm not sure if she has or yet, but when she was elected, she was a William and Mary student, serving on Williamsburg City Council. So I believe she's probably around 22. I'm not absolutely sure. But I want to give a shout out to them because they also had incredible feats. And Ayanna and I were running also at the same time in 2024. So they're amazing. Recommend everyone to check them out. They're doing some great work representing younger voices. But to answer your question, yes. Simply yes. I've gone a lot, even like recently too, last time and this time, and I'm like almost quoting somebody who made a comment on one of my Facebook page. It was absolutely fine because I encourage discourse and, helping voters understand platforms better. And I totally understand. But someone said the current school board members are older working professionals. And I think a lot of times, people may not understand or even know that young people, despite maybe not having very far in their professional careers, they have lived experiences that are really important. And people, I'll say our age. I know you're a millennial, I'm a Gen Z, but what are we, 5 years apart on our age? That we have issues with our community that are not being addressed. And it's really important that we have our voices heard. And, I also have a lot of the experiences now in 2026, we have Gen Alpha, and then we still have the younger part of Gen Z in our schools. And I experience a lot of the same things they experience today. Learning on Chromebooks. I was in high school when they rolled out learning on Chromebooks. Standardized testing, SOLs. I took those starting in 3rd grade. They've had those since the early 21st century. I'd be the only person serving on the school board, if elected, taken SOLs. And then also a big topic that is facing, not only in our schools, just nationwide, is mental health. And I really believe, and I mean, statistics and reports and data have shown it, that social media plays a big part in youth mental health crises. And understanding that perspective and being able to voice that perspective in elected capacity is really important to the success and the career development of these, of these students who are one day going to be thriving members of our community. The purpose of school systems is to produce productive citizens. And if we're not preparing our future productive citizens and making sure that, they are, they are being represented by people who have walked in their shoes, then we're not setting them up for success. So that's kind of my perspective. And, I get a lot of things still. You're young, you're green. Yeah, but I just think it was tried because, despite and I don't think it's a lack. I think I've accomplished a lot in my professional career being 26, working in educational nonprofits to working inside of a Virginia General Assembly, working on campaigns, becoming a consultant, becoming a contractor. I just think it's different perspectives. And I think it's really important that, going forward, not just for this particular race, but for races across the nation and localities at the state level, at the national level, that we are electing people that reflect the communities that they serve.
I appreciate that. I want to ask a question. These are frequently asked questions that parents have. Parents in the Hampton, I want to keep on saying the Hampton Roads in Hampton, Virginia, ask, why are graduation rates rising while some test scores remain below state averages? Now, is that something that you have read into, as far as for folks or voters that are saying, okay, I want to read up on your platform. If elected, what is your solution to this issue happening this challenge happening in Hampton?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that's a really big strength that Hampton City Schools has is our graduation rate. It's really amazing. And we have nothing to thank but our teachers and educators and support staff for that accomplishment. While a school division may have lower test scores, the number of students overall that are making cut scores can be leading higher to higher graduation rates. And for those who don't know what cut scores means, cut scores is the minimum score you can get in order to pass. So say the max on a standardized test on an SOL, you can get a 600. Say the cut score is 400. So anything above 400, you pass. Anything below or 400 above, you pass. Anything below 400, so 399, is not a pass. So despite our lower than average test scores, our students are at least making the minimum score required to pass and then go on to graduation. However, there is a lot of discussion happening across the state through the Virginia Department of Education. The Virginia Department of Education, that's such a tongue twister, is considering raising these cut scores for standardized testing. So say that 400 mark, they're thinking about increasing it to 450. I don't know what they're actually increasing, just an example. That discussion's happening across the state. And, luckily if that happens, it's going to be a few years before that transition is made, because that's a big transition to make from one cut score to another. So in that meantime, our division has the opportunity to work with students through tutoring, through mediation practices, to increase these test scores before the likely increase in cut scores that may happen in a few years. But, in order to increase tutoring, to increase mediation practices, that all ties back to needing more funding. I really encourage, Hampton City School Board, if I'm elected, I'll work towards working with our city council, working with our state legislatures, finding grants to either find restricted funds, in grants specifically for tutoring or mediation practices, to just ask for increased funding with our locality.
And to kind of expand more on the tutoring piece, because my listeners and viewers know about this, to get personal, I struggled. I had a learning disability as a student. It went on from elementary all the way to college, and I was fortunate to have great counselors where I understood differently than my classmates, right? But I think I will say COVID was a blessing and a curse, because they realized a lot of folks learned differently. But if elected, Natalie, would you expand on say opportunities for students with learning disabilities? Because again, that's a huge another topic of discussion happening across schools, public schools preferably. I was a private school kid, but I know it happens in public school as well.
Absolutely, yes. I am the biggest advocate for students with disabilities. Growing up myself, I had a neurological disorder growing up, and I was diagnosed at 4, and starting in Hampton City Schools. My parents pushed for testing to see if I qualified for services such as occupational therapy that would have really benefited me, especially later in my learning career, because I was one of those twice blessed kids, as a lot of my teachers say, where you may have a disability, but you're also qualified as a gifted student. But I was above my peers at the time in kindergarten, because I was very fortunate enough to go to pre-K, a private pre-K. That my parents sent me to, that, I didn't qualify for services at the time. And my parents had to take me out of school every week to go do private occupational therapy. So it wouldn't eventually affect my academics. And then also just affect my quality of life too, which affects your academics. If you can't, if your quality of life is affected, it affects your concentration in the classroom. And I'm sure I don't have to, amplify that to you, with your own experience. But, it really hit me, my learning issues really hit hard with my disability in middle school when I was going to the Gifted Center. I didn't have any accommodations before then. I didn't qualify, but I had a teacher who noticed that she gave me more time on my assignments, that I would do really well on them. That teacher and my mom finally, they got together, and throughout middle school, from 6th grade all the way to 8th, when I finally got my 504 plan, finally qualifying for those accommodations, I was able to succeed more and have more opportunities. Once I got to high school, I got to do advanced classes, which I wouldn't have been able to do if I didn't have my accommodations, and having so many great opportunities outside of the classroom. I don't know if you've heard of, I know you went to private school, but DECA, it's a CTE program, career and technical education program. I got to qualify at the state and international level. Wouldn't have been able to do that without my 5 and 4 in place, because since the co-curricular, my accommodations qualified through those competitions, and I'm just very thankful that, finally finding a teacher that recognized my needs, but circling back to, my own experience, my passion for it. I was student representative to the school board, and I spoke up many a times. There's recorded conversations with me many a times advocating for our students with disabilities, making sure they had the same opportunities in place. They had their support systems in place they needed to succeed within our schools. And a big thing we're seeing right now is difference in achievement gaps with our students with disabilities. Hampton City Schools does have a 100% accreditation rate, and they had it starting in 2019, and then they've been able to maintain it all the way to 2026, and we'll see, hopefully we'll retain that accreditation into the upcoming school year. We have no one else to thank but our educators and teachers. So thank you, educators and teachers, for helping us get there. And while we celebrate this achievement, though, we need to recognize that these achievement gaps are real. There's a lot of differences in our reading and math outcomes, not only just for students with disabilities, but our economically disadvantaged students, for English learners. And while we're also celebrating our full accreditation, this past year, the Virginia Department of Election put out a new framework for accreditation. These are Virginia School Quality Profiles. And while we remain 100% accreditation, 7 out of 18 elementary schools are classified as either off track, and then we have those are classified as off track, and then we have an additional elementary school that is classified as need intensive support, because of these groups. Our students with disabilities, our economically disadvantaged students, and English learners did not meet these new accountability thresholds, and that is 27% of our schools. This is over 27% of our schools. Sorry, I was trying to recall that statistic. Included in our accreditation metrics. That is not classified as on track, despite this full accreditation. And there's been a lot of talks about this accreditation framework across the division, across the state, and it's going to greatly affect our division too if it's changed on our accreditation. So tying all this back to these achievement gaps, it's really important. I will be the biggest advocate if elected, making sure that not only are we funding more money into our SPED programs, is that we're also making sure our teachers have the supports they need in the classroom in order to service their students. Do we have also enough personnel? Do we have enough support personnel to serve our students with disabilities and our English learners?
That was actually going to be my follow-up.
Because these roles are just as important as our educators. One-on-one services are really important, because not everyone is a test taker, and we need those additional supports.
Guilty.
And tying back to needing more remediation, tying back to tutoring, having those one-on-one supports is really important, and making sure we have support staff and educators, making sure they have the supports they need and making sure we retain them, because as they grow to learn, our students in particular, especially our support staff from elementary to middle to high school, our support staff typically work with a student all the way till they move on to the next level or till they graduate. So we want to make sure we're retaining our support staff too, and it's specifically our support staff in addition to our teachers, because they learn the learning styles of these individual students, if that all kind of makes sense. I've kind of gone on Taryn and
no
to disabilities to this over here.
Look, you were talking. Look, you were talking to one of the look. I'm a long-winded guy. You are fine. You are fine. I do want to ask a big, I guess, topic in the world of education, AI, artificial intelligence. So I have had conversations with, educators who have been teaching for 30 plus years still, and there's some that embrace it. There's some that absolutely hates it. There's some that say, well, I understand the balance. There's some that says, well, they're not helping our students for the future because, well, everything is going to be, if everything is AI, they're not really having a brain or a mind of their own because they're relying on technology. So you being a Gen Z, I'm curious to ask you this question here. Should Hampton embrace AI in classrooms, or should schools proceed cautiously?
Yeah, that's a great question. AI can be scary. And in some instances, it is scary. And I think Hampton City Schools is moving in the right way towards finding a way to best integrate AI into learning. Now, am I a full proponent of using AI for everything? Absolutely not. But I think it's really important as AI is developing, learning how ways we can use that's beneficial but not detrimental to students' learning. I know our educators did a training, the specific platform made for educators using AI for particular topics like developing their curriculum for like the day and other minute things like that. And they're provided training on how to appropriately use AI in the classroom in ways it's not appropriate. So I think that's a great introduction to AI in our school systems, because if there was no introduction, we don't know what our teachers are doing. We don't know what our students are doing with AI on their own terms, So I think having guidelines and finding out, trying to test the waters to see how it's best used is really important. And AI, it's developing, so we need to be very slow and diligent in integrating AI into students' learning, because AI will eventually, especially this generation of students currently in schools, AI will be a part of the workforce. It will be a part of almost every single career. So it's really important that we start to learn how we can teach how to appropriately use AI in the classroom. So not only we don't take away from students' learning experience and using their own brain, in assignments, in working, on assignments, but making sure they're ready once they get to the career, to their desired career, that they know how to use it appropriately and they know how to use it. But the key thing is moving slowly and diligently, and not rushing any decisions when it comes to integrating AI in the classrooms, because I wasn't in school. I think AI, ChatGPT came out my last year in college, and big plagiarism. Stay away from that. So I didn't get to experience this. I got to experience in my career, but I didn't get to really experience it besides not using it my last year of college. So, this is a completely new beast that I don't think a lot of us expected to run so rampant, in our world, in our education system. So
yeah, when I use it now, I'm like, where have you? I think of the song "Where Have You Been?" because when I was in college, I'm like, oh, this could have really helped me. But I graduated. Thank you, Jesus. I did, but I joke because so in the household, in the Gavin household, the wife is the smarter one. She has the master's. She graduated with all the ribbons and the ropes and stuff around. My Captain Gown was naked. Okay, I didn't even have a chain around mine. So I'm like, AI could have definitely ChatGPT could have helped me out, but it's okay. It's okay. the Lord had me use my mind, for the most part. But I'm just like, you could have looked out for it, brother, just on a couple occasions. But let's not talk about that. But you mentioned about career readiness for students in the city of Hampton, in Hampton Public Schools. Is there anything that, as an elected official, or just as a candidate right now, that you would say, well, I feel as though we can maybe improve in this category just a little bit better than what we currently have going on in Hampton?
Yeah, that's a great question. Again, I think this is another strength of Hampton City Schools. Absolutely, is our academies of Hampton. Having so many different pathways for students to explore careers, and even if you start a pathway, you can change a different pathway and try a different career. So you're really getting to know different career fields before you're entering the workforce, or even when you're going to college and knowing what you should major in. Me personally, I can't even tell you the amount of times I switched my major. It was insane. And I don't know if I had, the full run academies in Hampton that we have today, if I would have come to a career path a little bit sooner, I'm not sure, or a college major a little sooner, I'm not sure. But, it's a really strength of the division. While this model has helped our division prepare for our students for college and career readiness, there's always more we can do. Kind of going back to our special education population, going back to our students with disabilities, making sure that they have programs, they're ready to thrive post-high school, post-graduation, in the career field. And, it also ties back to those academic gaps that we talked about earlier, those specific student groups, including the economically disadvantaged, and then also our English learners, or English language learners, excuse me.
Y'all have a lot of long phrases and wording. It's like, we need to work on initial. No, I'm messing with you. So we should bring initials to the table this year. But no, I totally again, everything you're hitting is very key and very important. So we're coming to a close with our convo, but I want to have some fun with you, because I know we've talked a lot. So I just have a couple, a few questions, but we're gonna have some fun here, Natalie. Okay. So gonna do a little rapid fire questions. Okay. Are you let's see. Okay. So would you rather binge watch your favorite TV show on Netflix, or attend the movies, go to the movie theater? Are you a movie theater person, or are you a Netflix binger?
That's a great question. Honestly, nowadays I'm watching on my phone. I'm guilty of the my younger generations. I'm on my phone. But probably right now, probably go see a movie. There's so many great movies out right now. We got the Spider-Man movie coming out, the Odyssey's out. There's been some really good movies recently, so I'd probably say go see a movie. Okay. Sorry, that's not rapid fire. I took a while to answer that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So you mentioned Spider-Man, and I guess it's kind of answers the next question. Are you Marvel or DC?
I say Spider-Man is great, and maybe it's because I really like Tom Holland and Zendaya.
All right. Next question.
I'm sorry.
She said anything that Tom is on, I'm watching. Okay. That is hilarious. Okay, awesome. Okay, so if you had to pick a prolific public figure, right? Any celebrity that's in TV, film, sports, politics. If you had to have dinner with, say, at least, what's your Mount Rushmore dinner table? So that's at least four? I think 4 or 5. Who are some of those individuals you would want to sit down and be like, oh, I would love to have dinner or lunch or coffee with you?
Oh my gosh. Okay. That's such a great question. I'll opt to the more political side of it. Okay. And I really admire individuals. They end up being progressive candidates, but people who started in their community doing a lot of grassroots work. I'm going to start with Bernie Sanders. Okay. I know he's a very progressive guy, and I like Bernie a lot. He was the first bumper sticker I had on my car. When I got my first car, that was my first bumper sticker. But I don't know if you've ever learned about Bernie Sanders, his road to politics. It is amazing. Yes, I love it. So I'll probably start with him. I admire a lot of boots on the ground work that he continues to do too, is Zoran Mondani. Okay. All the doors he knocked, how he's staying engaged, how he's very up to trend and staying engaged with not only his older constituency, but his younger constituency. I think that's really important. You got to go with President Obama. Easy pick.
Hey, they're burning. You want to pass the sugar there? No, that was the worst Obama. So that was the worst. I don't know why I did that, but go ahead.
Okay, and then who would I pick last? Oh my goodness. Let's just say Gavin Newsom, because he really just be throwing a lot of shade on Twitter, and I would just love to see if he has that same wit in person.
The conversation was going so good, Natalie, and then you said Gavin. No, okay.
No.
Look, my audience know I am not the biggest Gavin News fan, but it's okay. The rest of those cats you named, big fans, huge fans.
Well, if you said 4, those would be my top 3, and really the 4 was out there. He just stuck out because he really do be doing the most on social media.
He does. Let me tell you something. Within the party, he is a very well liked individual, and yes. So no, okay. Let me see. Okay. If someone pulled up to you, at the stoplight, what song would they be hearing you karaoke in your car? Like, what is your go-to song that whenever you hear this, I gotta turn it up, I gotta jam with it, I gotta, I know the lyrics word for word? Like, what is that go-to song?
Yeah, I get a lot of fascination songs. Like, I'll listen to it on repeat for a couple weeks, and then I find the next song. Right now it's Blame It on the Boogie.
Okay.
Blame it on the sunshine. Yeah, obviously, yeah. You were agreeing it as I said it. Yeah, that one I'm immediately playing when I get in the car. And I don't know if it's because the new biopic came out. I've always really liked Michael Jackson's music ever since I was like in middle school. Really had like a Michael Jackson like kick. That's all I listened to. Really admire his philanthropy work too. Nonetheless, I think it's because the biopic came out. Really vibing with Blame It on the Boogie.
Okay. Last question with the rapid fire. What is your favorite? A TV show that you can watch on repeat. Like, this is just my favorite show. I can always watch this.
The Office. Very basic.
Yes.
The Office are when I ran last time and running this time too, Parks and Rec. That Leslie Knope energy. Sometimes I need it. That go-getter energy. So The Office and Parks and Rec, but really those are like twins. They're truly twins.
It's so funny. And again, not trying to take away from why you're on the show right now, but fun fact, I actually started watching Parks and Rec first, then The Office when I was in college, because I never watched it while it was like ongoing when I was in school. So I was late to the party with loving The Office. So when I was in college and I had time, I'm like, okay, let me binge watch Parks and Rec, and then let me binge watch Office from start to finish, even though those other were 2 amazing shows, great shows. So look, you did a great job. You passed with flying colors. Great for you.
Awesome.
But last question before you go, Natalie. And if you don't mind, I'd love to chop it up to you just for a couple seconds after this show. Why should folks choose Natalie Kidd come November 3rd to serve on Hampton City School Board?
Yes. First of all, thank you so much for having me on. It's been such a great conversation, talking about really important topics that pertain to our school. So thank you so much. Kid for kids, I really think it's important that not just this race, but races across different localities at the state level, at the national level, that have individuals that are representative of the people they serve. I bring a unique perspective that my opponents don't bring, and vice versa. They bring unique perspectives that I don't bring. And I really think when it comes down to it, on November 3rd, at early voting, during mail-in ballot season, when voters are deciding who to vote for, I think they're going to decide on whether or not whose lived experiences, their diverseness, and how that'll apply to decisions made in our school system. I think that is going to determine who they vote for. So I really encourage all Hampton residents to please vote for me. Kid for Kids, raised by 21st Century Hampton to serve 21st Century Hampton. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, Natalie, again, best of luck on your race. We appreciate you coming on the show. Please don't be a stranger. You always have an open invite here on the program. And again, best of luck. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. My friends, I hope you enjoyed yet another great convo here on the Arrington Gavin Show. As always, stay safe, stay blessed, and always stay informed. And we'll talk to you soon for another great convo here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Talk to you soon. I'm out.
That's it for tonight on the Arrington Gavin Show. Thanks for tapping in and keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget, stay connected with us on all platforms. Follow at Arrington Gavin on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, and subscribe to the official Substack for exclusive takes and deep dives you won't get anywhere else. We're here every weeknight, same time, same energy, same real talk. Until next time, stay bold, stay sharp, and stay true. That's what we do on the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace.